Hello, in this example, we will take a look at FlexButton being used to query an outside HIE for patient data from within the hospital HIS system, provide a visual indicator to the user indicating the presence of new HIE data for the patient, and take the user into the patient's chart within the HIE via the FlexButton when initiated by the user. Within the hospital HIS system, a user identifies a patient on the HIS screen and selects the Open Chart button to view the patient's chart. FlexButton sees the creation of this specific Open Chart screen within the HIS system and then sends a query to the HIE at that point in time to confirm if there is any new data present for that specific patient within the HIE. The HIE in turn sends back a response to that query, and if any new data is present for the patient within the HIE, FlexButton receives that information, and FlexButton is added to the top right-hand corner of the user session and flashes as a visual indicator to indicate the presence of new data for the patient within the HIE. So the button here flashing, this is the FlexButton, and we can see the gray and pink flashing as the visual cue to the user that there is in fact new data for this patient within the HIE. When the user invokes the FlexButton, a separate window is launched taking the user to the patient's chart within the HIE. As part of the process, the user's credentials are passed to the HIE, eliminating the need for the user to need to enter their credentials each and every launch, each and every time. Session control is then passed to the HIE system at this point in time, and the user can navigate around within that system. When the users completed their work within the HIE, control is then returned back to their original HIS session to repeat the process for another patient if desired. We will query the HIE for the second patient. HIE indicates that there is new data for the patient, so we draw the Flex button in the top right-hand corner, and you can see the flashing gray and pink as the visual cue to tell the user that there is actually new data for this patient within the HIE. Some key integration points for consideration. The open chart screen within the HIS was used in this specific example, but the button's appearance, size, and screen placement are all customer defined to match the needs of each specific project. This allows the button to be added in the best possible location for the end user's workflow. FlexButton can collect data about the user and patient real time to pass to an outside system at a specific time in the end user's workflow. In this specific example, the data required by the HIE vendor's API was collected from the HIS system by the FlexButton and was then passed to the HIE vendor real time, matching their specifications. Hospital and vendor business rules can be added if needed. In this specific example, the hospital's core team decided which elements within the HIE they wanted to be considered as new data for the patient, and the FlexButton was then programmed to line up against those business rules. Business rules like this can be defined and added per project. And typical third-party integration is accomplished via web services, APIs, invoking an executable on the user's machine, or creating a dynamic URL based on the user patient information collected from the HIS system.